Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, thanks for stopping by. I'm Carol, I'm glad to have you here. If you enjoy my content, please consider subscribing. So today we have another fun canning video for you, and actually it is by request. I was cleaning up some of my older videos and I had mistakenly deleted a video that many of you, it seems, tend to watch because a number of you have contacted me and asked me what happened to the video. So today we're going to be canning up Mexican pinto beans. I love canning dried beans, and winter is a perfect time to can them up. Dried beans are very economical to make, and my version of Mexican pinto beans I love having because they're not only great for tossing into salads, tossing into soup or stews. They're a great soup starter on their own. You can add them to burrito filling, taco filling, of course, but my favorite way to have them is to make homemade refried beans. They are just fantastic. I do have a video on making refried beans, which I will link with an iCard and in the description box below. So if you are a refried bean lover, make sure you check that video out. They are just delicious. So a few things that I just kind of want to go over regarding canning dried beans in general. Number one, they must be pressure canned. They are a low acid food, so they cannot be safely water bath canned. So you must have a pressure canner to can them. The other thing is, and I know that this is controversial and I really don't want to get into all the controversy of canning up dried beans, there are people who say that you can them from a dried state, but that is not a safe or proven method to use. So what I'm going to be demonstrating in today's video is the guideline for properly processing dried beans. And the bottom line is they're supposed to be rehydrated and par cooked prior to canning them up. Now, some people say they don't like the texture when they're rehydrated and par cooked. They say they're too soft. I've not found that to be the case for me. Maybe you're over processing them, I don't know, but it is your kitchen, it is your rules, you can do as you choose, but the guidelines state that we are to properly rehydrate them and to par cook them. So that is what we are going to do today. I will link in the description box below this video the guideline from the National Center of Home Food Preservation. They do have a discussion about why it is considered unsafe or risky. If you don't like the word unsafe, it is risky to can beans from a dried state. So like I said, I don't want to get into all the controversy of it. It's your kitchen, your rules, you do as you choose. But today we are going to do it per canning guidelines. You can prep your beans in one of two ways. You can do an overnight soak, which is just rinsing your beans, sorting through them, covering them with water, and then a lid, and just let them rehydrate overnight. I prefer doing a quick soak. I don't really know if that makes a difference in texture because I always do a quick soak and I never have a problem with the texture of my beans. So what I did again is I sorted and rinsed my beans. I covered them with hot water by a couple of inches, brought them to a boil, boiled them for 2 minutes, and I let them sit in a pot covered for an hour. That is called a quick soak. So today is going to be a small batch. I am using 2 pounds of dried pinto beans. I'm also going to be using some spices. Now for your seasonings, you have some options. I'm going to be using garlic powder, onion powder, seasoned salt, chili powder. You could add Mexican oregano, you could add pepper, you could add just plain salt. I am using seasoned salt, but you could add just plain salt, and you could also add cumin. I forgot to purchase cumin at the grocery store. I didn't realize I was out when I went. So I'm gonna leave cumin out for today, but that is something that I typically put in my refried beans. But like I said, the seasonings are all up to you. For every pint jar, which I'm gonna be canning in pints, you're gonna want about a half a teaspoon of whatever type of salt you decide to use, and then about a quarter of a teaspoon of your other spices, an eighth to a quarter of a teaspoon of other spices. For every quart jar, you're gonna need a teaspoon of whatever salt you choose, and then maybe a half a teaspoon of your spices. It's all gonna depend on how seasoned you want your beans. So that is up to you. Dried spices, we're allowed to change those up, add them, take them away, whatever. As far as I know, there is no quote unquote tested recipe for Mexican pinto beans. I'm following the guidelines for canning dried beans, and then I am adding dried spices, which I know is a safe practice. So you add whatever spices that you enjoy. Something else to note when canning up beans, and I have found this from experience. The guideline states that we can add beans to a 1-inch headspace and then cover them with hot liquid. I think that that's too many beans in the jar in my experience, because as beans sit on your shelf, they tend to absorb the liquid. So what I like to do is fill my jar either 2/3 to 3/4 full. So I'm leaving more of a headspace with my beans and then top it off with liquid, and you'll see that as I demonstrate the canning process. But I wanted to mention that the guideline is, and it is safe to add your beans to a 1-inch headspace, then top it off with liquid, but I don't think it leaves us enough liquid. As they sit on their shelf, they tend to absorb that liquid. So I err on the side of caution. I add fewer beans, more liquid, and I think I get a better result when they're sitting on the shelf. That's just my opinion. The 2 pounds of beans is going to get us roughly 6 pint jars or 3-quart jars. Again, as a reminder, for pressure canning, you have to have a minimum of 4 pints or 2 quarts to safely process. So make sure you keep that in mind as you are planning how many beans you want to can up. So I have done exactly what I told you. I prepped my beans with a quick soak. So now I'm going to drain my beans from the soaking liquid. We do not want to use that to cook them. So I'm going to drain that off. I'm going to add fresh water to cover my beans by about 2 to 3 inches. I'm going to parboil them for 30 minutes. Now, with the boiling, I think we get carried away, and maybe this is another reason people don't like the texture of their beans. I think we get carried away with boiling when we're prepping things for canning. All it needs to be is a very gentle boil or a simmer, a nice constant simmer. You don't want to boil them to death for 30 minutes. You don't need to do that. We just want a nice gentle boil for about 30 minutes. Then we are all set for canning. So while my beans are par cooking, I'm going to get my canner, my jars, and my lids ready, and my seasonings. So when we get there, I'll bring you back. Guys, I wanted to bring you in close and just show you what I mean by a nice gentle simmer. Do you see how it's not boiling crazy? It's just a nice, gentle, consistent boil. And I do stir them a little bit to make sure that they're evenly cooked. You will get some starch coming to the top and looking kind of foamy there, but it's just a nice consistent low boil or simmer. Okay guys, we are all set for canning. I did boil my beans, gently boil my beans for 30 minutes, so they are ready to go. I do have 3 inches of simmering water in the bottom of my canner, and I kept my jars hot in my canner. We do want to start with hot jars. So to fill our jars, we're going to do exactly what I was talking about. I'm going to fill just the beans. I'm going to fill my jars 2/3 to 3/4 full. That's pretty good. And then I'm going to add my spices. So I want a half of a teaspoon of salt, whatever salt you're using. I like the seasoned salt. And then I'm going to use 1/4 of a teaspoon of onion powder. If I'm obviously canning in pints, but if you are canning in quarts, you'll want to double your seasonings or to taste. 1/4 of a teaspoon of garlic powder. And then I'm going to use 1/4 of a teaspoon of this ancho chili powder. You could use whatever chili powder that you like. The ancho chili powder is has a nice sweet and smoky flavor to it, so that's why I like it. And again, with the spices, it's entirely up to you. So now we're going to top our jars off to 1-inch headspace. I'm going to use my cooking liquid, but you could use fresh boiling water if you prefer. Headspace is important for those of you who are new. We want to make sure we have a really nice 1-inch headspace. Also, you want to make sure you have enough liquid in your jars to fully cover your beans. All right, once you get to the correct headspace, you are going to use a debubbling tool, plastic butter knife, or chopstick to release any air bubbles. So just poke around your jar. Typically I use white vinegar to clean the rims of my jars, but apparently I forgot to get more white vinegar at the grocery store, so I'm just using a damp paper towel. There shouldn't be much residue on our jars anyway. You want to clean your rims. And then you're going to add your lids. Now for the lids today I'm using ball lids, so the prep for those is to just wash them and rinse them really well, set them aside. If you are using 4 jars lids, they do need to be simmered prior. Make sure you check the manufacturer's instructions for whatever lids you are using. So we're going to center our lids and then we're going to add our bands to fingertip tight. And then in the canner they go. Just delicious. Guys, my canner is full. I did end up getting 8 pints. I was expecting at least 6, but I did end up getting 8. So my canner is nice and full. So for those of you who are new to canning, and especially if you like small batch canning and you're interested in the All-American canner, the size that I have, which is linked below, is perfect for small batch canning. It will can up to 8 pints. You line up the arrow with the notch on the lid, the arrow on the lid, the notch on the pot. You want to get it as even as possible. For the All-American canner, you're going to tighten your thumb screws 2 at a time from the opposite side. And then we are going to crank our heat up to high. And then we want to do what's called venting, which means we need to see a steady stream of steam coming out of our steam vent for 10 minutes. At that point, we can add our weight. Okay guys, we've been venting for about 10 minutes now, so I'm ready to add my weight. It's really important that you know your altitude because different altitudes require a different PSI. I am canning for under 1,000 feet, so I'm going to be canning at 10 PSI, so I'm going to find the 10 on my weight, and I'm going to put that on top of my vent. Something I want to mention for newbies, because this kind of freaked me out when I first started canning, and I'm sure it has freaked out some of you too, and for those, especially those of you who are afraid of a pressure canner. When you are venting, and even when you're canning, there will be steam and condensation that will accumulate around your vent, so you'll see little bits of water and bubbles around your vent. That is completely normal and expected. So just don't be freaked out by that. I was freaked out by that. So I thought I would mention it. The other thing I wanted to mention is the All-American canner is considered a weighted gauge canner, even though it does have a dial gauge. The dial gauge is for reference only. So we're going to start our processing time when the weight starts rocking. I am processing in pints, so I'm going to process for 75 minutes. If you are processing in quarts, you're going to be processing for 90 minutes. The other thing I want to mention is once the weight starts rocking, with the All-American canner, we do not want it rocking continuously throughout the canning process. That is an indication your heat is too high, and it can overprocess your food. So once you start your processing time, you're going to slowly reduce your heat just to maintain proper rocking, which for the All-American canner is 1 to 3 times a minute, meaning it will jiggle and then stop, and then jiggle and then stop. It should do that at least once a minute, up to 3 times per minute. And I'll bring you back in a few minutes and demonstrate that as well. Okay, our weight has started rocking, and we don't want it rocking like that throughout the entire canning processing time. So we want to slowly reduce our heat. As an FYI, large temperature or quick temperature fluctuations in our canner does promote siphoning, and we don't want that to happen. Siphoning refers to liquid loss in your jars during the canning process. We don't want that to happen. So you want to reduce your heat slowly just to maintain proper rocking. If you have the Presto canner, your rocking is supposed to be continuously, which is different. So make sure that you read the instruction manual that goes with your canner so you know what's appropriate for the canner that you are using. For those of you who are new, this is an example of proper jiggling for the All-American canner. You heard it jiggle, and then it stopped, And within a minute, it should do that again 1 or 2 more times. And there we go again. About 20 seconds later, it started jiggling again. So that's an example of proper jiggling. Also, if you look at your dial gauge, like I said, it's just for reference. It will register at 240 degrees, which is what we're looking for under 1,000 feet. Hey guys, we are all done. I processed for the 75 minutes. Like I told you, if you're processing in quarts, you're gonna process for 90 minutes. Once my processing time was over, I let my canner return to 0 pressure, then I removed the weight, let it sit about 5 minutes more, and then I cracked my lid, let my jars kind of cool a little more slowly by just cracking the lid, and then waited 5 minutes and then took the lid off and waited about 5 minutes more. So that's where we are now. I obviously want to show you what they look like, but something I want to point out, can you see the white residue on the outside of the jars? That is what I talk about, why I add the white vinegar to my canning water. It prevents that from happening. So if you add a couple of tablespoons to your canning water before you start the canning process, it does help for you to not have that cloudy film get on the outside of your jars. It's not a safety issue, obviously. It's just an aesthetics issue. It's just minerals that are in our water deposit on the jars during the canning process. So if you want to eliminate that, it makes it easier to do during the canning process. You can, like I'm going to do, remove it post canning by using a nice dish detergent mixed with a little bit of white vinegar, and it will come off, but when you wash your jars. But anyway, that's one of the reasons why I like to use the white vinegar in my canning water. There are other people who say that they use cream of tartar and that works really well for them. So either one works great, but it helps prevent that from happening. So anyway, these Mexican beans are fantastic to have on your shelf, you guys. Beans are a great source of protein, which we tend to not get enough of. So I hope you will can some of them up. If you have any comments or questions, leave them for me in the comment section. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, and I will see you next time. Have a fantastic day.